In 2016, my buddy and I attended a PlayStation experience in Anaheim, California, where I had my first VR experience playing Firewall 0 Hour. Fast forward almost 7 years, and I recently made an eye-wateringly expensive purchase, the PSVR2. The promise of cutting-edge technology and exciting games compelled me to take the plunge. Now, after a few weeks of using the headset, I'm ready to share my review of the PSVR2. Let's start the review by addressing what is included in your purchase. For $549, you'll receive a PSVR2 headset, its 2 controllers, and all necessary cables. If you take a deeper plunge, you can add the climbing simulator Horizon Call of the Mountain, taking you to $599. No, the game is not a climbing simulator, you just climb a lot. That's expensive, no matter how you look at it. You're spending more on the headset than the PS5 itself. I knew that basing this review on just Horizon Call of the Mountain alone wouldn't be fair, which is why I went along and also purchased Beat Saber, Gran Turismo 7, and downloaded some demos, in an effort to get a better grasp of what the overall feel of playing the VR headset was like. I also already owned a few games that had a VR option, like Resident Evil Village and No Man's Sky. With that lineup of titles, I knew I'd be able to provide a better overall review of the PSVR2. The unboxing and packaging is very similar to the original PSVR as well, but in terms of similarities, that is as close as it gets between the two at face value. Something that is mandatory to address is how simple the setup is in comparison to the original PSVR. It's almost insulting when comparing the state of the two headsets on release. The original PSVR didn't include PS Move controllers, it was just the headset. The PSVR 2 features a single cord that you simply plug into your PS5 and you're basically done. You'll instantly receive instruction and prompts on screen to finalize your setup. The PSVR original? Not the case. When you're initially setting up your play area, yes, the PSVR 2 will have you scan your play area. It also has limits automatically set up for you. So for instance, if you're flailing around or climbing in Horizon Call of the Mountain, if your hand is about to extend past the out of bounds zone, you'll see it pop up on your screen so you know to be careful. This is a great feature to avoid you accidentally punching a wall, and I greatly appreciated it. As a dad, this is incredibly helpful. The biggest complaint I had with the original PSVR was how clunky and how many cords needed to be attached. Setup was not as simple as with the PSVR 2, and with the small toddlers back then, it was way more difficult to set that thing up whenever I wanted to schedule a play session. No! The PSVR 2 offers some really neat features that further enhance the overall performance and experience. A button that allows you to trigger a pass-through mode, where you can see your surroundings in black and white in an instant, is phenomenal. I can easily check and see if my kids are near me if I suspect one of them are wandering close. That way, I can avoid whacking them as I flail my arms around in Beat Saber. So let's start talking about the feel of wearing the headset and controllers. Beginning with the headset itself, it's comfortable, more so than any other headset I've utilized in the past. Wearing the headset is simple and quick to do. There are earbuds that you attach to the headset itself and they drop right to where your ears should be. This makes it to where the earbud cables don't interfere with your body. The single wire that goes from the headset to the PS5, however, does interfere at times. While I was standing up specifically playing Horizon Call of the Mountain and Beat Saber, that single cord was in my way. Playing Beat Saber, I found myself kicking the cord around to get more comfortable as I was focused on not missing any hits. Additionally, since we just mentioned the earbuds don't really bring a huge kick into audio. You're still going to be limited to wearing your PS Pulse headset if you have that, or any other headset that you would use for gaming in general. Now, while adjusting the headset, it's also important to find the sweet spot, and I'm sure this is the case with many headsets, but as is, I feel like this is an area of improvement across the board. I'm a very competitive player, so if I'm playing VR, I'll want to move around. I'd expect to. So that sweet spot becomes an issue when it's lost because of my movement. Whether it was because I was playing Beat Saber's expert difficulty songs or an intense battle in Horizon Call of the Mountain, at times I'd lose that sweet spot and I would have to adjust mid-game. Arguments stating that you could tighten the headset to avoid movement are valid, but I found that I already broke in a good sweat playing Beat Saber as is, so when I tightened the headset, that became even worse. The area where your forehead would rest in the headset would be drenched by 5 songs of Beat Saber. Not anything that ruined the experience, but definitely something to take note of. Now let's stop for a second. I am very well aware that if you're reading or watching this review, you're potentially wondering whether or not this thing is worth getting. Maybe you're at least considering purchasing it. I'm also aware that marketing the PSVR 2 can be difficult, especially if you've never had an experience with VR. So I'm going to take a second and try to explain what the PSVR 2 headset really is now that I've gotten the basics of the headset out of the way. I'm not getting paid for this review, and I purchased the PSVR 2 with my own money, so I'll try to be as thorough and upfront as possible. In terms of physical space, I'd lump the PSVR 2 in the same classification as a gaming headset or peripherals together. And by peripherals, I mean like a gaming steering wheel or any sort of Guitar Hero accessories. And by this, I just mean that the device requires space. It needs to be charged and or plugged, and there's more work to set up prior to use. So think of it as an experience that you add on to your gaming session. Now, wearing the headset, at least when you're in the PlayStation's menus, it just looks like you're sitting in front of a movie theater screen. It's just one big screen close to your face, and it is not 3D or panoramic or immersive. When you've gone into a VR-enabled game, however, the best way to explain your experience would be to compare it to 3D panoramic pictures, or those 3D pictures some realtors use to sell houses. I've attached a website that you can look at 3D panoramic pictures on. There'll be a link in the description if you're watching the video. Picture those, but closer to your face so you get a sense of immersion since you won't see anything outside of the image that is placed in front of your face. Hopefully that helps, but it is quite literally the best oversimplification of what you'd look at when you're putting one on without actually doing so. So if you're watching the trailers, just imagine you're putting that trailer really close to your face so you don't see anything surrounding you, and that you would look around in a almost 360 degree or sometimes 360 degree view if you kept moving your head around. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about the controllers. Once again, and as expected, this is an area of improvement. The VR2 Sense controllers are great. The control scheme is similar to the DualSense. Your right hand has your standard circle cross R1, R2, and R3, while your left hand has your square triangle L1, L2, and L3, just like the DualSense controllers. The PSVR 2 Sense controllers also share the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, and it's great. Feeling the tension on your bow or your tires steer off the track are just as you'd expect. Additionally, the tracking is pretty good. I wouldn't say perfect, but it is pretty good. The view when wearing the headset and the graphics are another upgrade. There's two HDR-enabled OLED panels that operate at 120 Hz to provide 110 degree field of view. Yes, I copy-pasted that description and I read it. The quality of the screens within the headset are without a doubt worth the price of admission. When playing Gran Turismo and looking at your car's interior and the landscapes you're racing in captivate you and make you feel like you were really there. And I know that is something that a lot of reviewers say, you were really there. But take into account the 3D panoramic picture and the fact that you're actually playing the game, and Gran Turismo almost made me want to invest in a racing setup. But no, I value my finances. Needless to say, the visuals have definitely and evidently been improved upon moving from the PSVR to the PSVR 2. Now, without reviewing the games themselves, the PSVR 2 offers a great VR experience that is a significant upgrade from the first iteration of Sony's VR offerings. One definite downside of it, as of writing this, is the lackluster library of games available, due to the fact that the PSVR 2 does not have backward compatibility with the library of original PSVR games. The library of games currently available for PSVR 2 is top-heavy. Aside from Horizon, Gran Turismo, VR modes for already released games, and Beat Saber, you're left with a few titles that would even be considered solid offerings. No offense. Of the titles mentioned, none alone would justify the entry-level price tag of the PSVR 2 for now. So what's the verdict? Currently, the PSVR 2 is an impressive VR headset that has a slim lineup with multiple promising projects inbound. Although the current price tag may be steep for some to adopt due to the fact that there isn't much of an established lineup, the tech powering the headset is worth the price of admission. Any adopter of the previous headset will instantly notice a significant upgrade. If the headset receives the amount of support others in the market have, it is poised to be a powerhouse of immersive gaming experience with some minor hiccups along the way. I give it an 8.5 out of 10, it's great. Now, should you buy this headset? As a dad, I gotta tell you, maybe. Maybe wait for a library establishment, or maybe try to find a way where you can save some money and then pick it up. But for now, that's my review of the PSVR 2. My name's Irizarry with Dad's XP. Goodbye.